To my dear family of Guard Your Eyes, I want to share with you an amazing story about Pesach, but I think it really exemplifies what Guard Your Eyes is all about. Yerushalmi says, the Bavli also says the same idea. You can't be Yetzev, the Matzah, the mitzvah of eating Matzah on Pesach, unless you have one of the 5 grains. But even more, on a deeper level, you can't be Yetzev unless you have yeast. The yeast is what you're not supposed to have in your matzah, but you have to have the struggle. You have to have the potential. If you don't have the potential, then the reward, the matzah, is not a kosher matzah. Rice made of rice matzah is not kosher. Why? It can't go through fermentation. And I think this is the most profound lesson for everyone who's struggling. If you don't have the struggle, you'll never get the possible reward. You'll never get the possible you. Listen to this incredible story. In Living Amun, I think it's number 4. She relates the story from Rav Unger of Bnei Brak. A Yid comes to Rav Unger, call him Yosef. Yosef comes in and says, I had a crazy dream. Rav Unger says, what happened? What happened? So he says, I saw a friend of mine from 30 years ago when we were in the barracks in the concentration camps. 30 years back. And this Reb Moshe, this Yid, he came to me one day, it was a few days before Pesach. He said, I was able to put together flour enough for 2 kezesim of matzah. And he turned to me, this Reb Moshe. This Reb Moshe was a tzaddik, his father was a tzaddik, illustrious family. And he said, I'll give you one of the kezesim if you take care of the baking. So they made a deal. They said, great. Yosef said, I'll do it. And he did. He went and he baked the matzahs. He had 2 kezesim in his hand. On the way back, a Nazi, caught him. And as he's beating him up, one of the matzahs fall out of his pocket. One of the kezesim falls out, and the Nazi right away steps on it and beats him up even more and more and makes him bleed. And finally, when the whole brutality is over, so Yosef said, I was barely able to walk back, but I got back. I only had 1 kezais with me. I came to my friend Moshe. I said, Moshe, what do we do? 1 kezais. It's your matzah. But I put a lot of effort into baking and getting this back. Finally, I decided Moshe's going to eat the matzah. It's his matzah. But Rabbi Yosef, who had to suffer all the brutality, he's going to get the reward. And that was the deal. 30 years later, Moshe, who died at Kiddush Hashem, what happened to Moshe afterwards, the reason why he died is because Pesach night he was saying Hal, and he was saying it a little bit too loud. A Nazi heard him, got all angry, shot him to death. And that was it. So Moshe, after 30 years, comes in a dream, and he tells Rabbi Yosef, remember that mitzvah? And I know we made that deal. I need the reward to be able to go higher. So this whole dream comes from Rav Unger. Rav Unger says, I don't know what to do. Go to the Rebbe, the Machnov Rebbe. He's going to tell you what to do. He goes to the Rebbe. And the Rebbe listens to the story and says, you should give it back to him. So Rabbi Yosef says, why? I went to crazy sacrifice for this. He says, it's true, but Rav Moshe died without any kids. And he doesn't have any kids to have married to you, Baruch Hashem, you children, grandchildren. Not only that, you can do a kazayis matzah right now. He can't. And he told Rabbi Yosef, he said, listen, tonight when you're going to go to shul, and you're going to open the Oren Kodesh, and you're going to cry to the Rabbi Hashem. And you're going to tell the Moshe, I want to give the reward back. And Kachava, he did exactly that. He went to sleep that night. Moshe, his friend, beaming, shows up and says, thank you. That was it. Rabbi Yosef was so inspired, and he came back to the Machnov Rebbe, and he thanked him. And the Rebbe said, I want to tell you, Rabbi Yosef, you know what we learned from this incredible lesson? Here you have Moshe. He's a tzaddik. He died at Kiddush Hashem. The Gemara Pesachim says he's a place that no one else could reach. He said hallow as he left this world. And still, he needed your mitzvah. This mitzvah. You know why? Because it was such a struggle. There was such suffering that you had to go through. Can you imagine what a mitzvah with struggle means? So imagine today when someone is struggling with the internet. The incredible test. And even for 1 second, a person's misgaber. Can you imagine the reward? Keep it in mind.
Thank you for listening to the Guard Your Eyes Daily Chizuk broadcast. Pass them on to your friends and help spread Kedusha in the world.